Welcome to Influence Her, produced by Baker Public Relations. I am your host, Megan Baker. Our communities feature some of the most extraordinary and strong women. These women are pioneers and visionaries who overcame obstacles, didn't wallow in defeat, but instead chose to rise. Influence Her provides a platform to empower and influence others. On today's episode, we are honored to have Jerilee Beaudoin, the newly appointed president and CEO of Sunmark Credit Union, who brings over 34 years of experience in the financial services industry. Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have had such a pleasure getting to know you through a Women's Presidents Organization, and I'm so happy to see you in this role.
Thank you.
Well deserved. With over 3 years in financial services, what significant changes have you seen during this time?
Well, there's been really significant changes. I started actually as a part-time teller at the mere age of 16 when women couldn't wear open-toed shoes or slacks. They had to wear pantyhose and dresses or skirts. It was very formal, and there really was not a lot of female mentors in the industry. And so as my career progressed, so did the technology, so did the change in apparel. There were a whole host of things that changed over that time period pretty significantly in the industry.
How have these changes helped to support you as a leader?
They really have helped me quite a bit. The innovation in the space is exciting. It fuels me as a leader in the industry to see the level of technological advancements and innovation to support our members and to support our employees. That's really fueled me. And I would say, I've had some really great mentors throughout my career. And while we've gained some traction in having female leadership in the industry, we're still lagging behind other industries when it comes to CEOs being female.
Jerilee, you mentioned that you started in the industry as a bank teller, and when you joined Sunmark in 2020, you joined as the Chief Lending Officer. How have these roles, very different, prepared you for your role today?
Yeah, I would say from a career perspective, I was fortunate to hold many different roles, and my career wasn't horizontal. It was very much vertical at times, and so it allowed me the opportunity to hold positions in sales, operations, leadership, non-leadership roles. And I think that diverse background really helped me when I became the Chief Lending Officer. And then when I joined Sunmark, I was blessed with a very strong team, both the people in lending as well as the executive team. And the executive team came together as one, and we really moved the credit union forward. There's not many times in my career where I've been fortunate to have a high-performing, high-functioning team. And when you have those moments, you really cherish them. And so we had that, and it was special. They were very supportive of me advancing into the CEO role. And I don't think I could have done it without their support. It would have been very difficult to do that. Once a peer, now they're leader. And so having their support was really pivotal. And I would say lastly, my predecessor sent me to CEO school for 2 years. And that was comprised of a group of 13 executives across the country in which we came together twice a year for 2 years and really focused on key strategic topics, board governance and strategic planning and a whole host of things. And so that really prepared me to assume this role and responsibility.
You seem to have such an appetite to learn and to just, push and move the needle, right? So let's talk a little bit about, went through CEO school. Let's talk about, your education and how that has also helped you in your journey and along your career path.
Yeah, so my parents didn't have the financial resources to send me to college, but I knew that college was my path forward, and that education was really, really important. And so I worked and went to school and
Mhm.
started at Hudson Valley. Best decision I made because it was affordable and it was a quality education. And so it allowed me to work essentially full time and go to school full time. By the time I graduated from Hudson Valley, I had no debt. And so I had 2 years of a college education without any debt. At that point, I then pivoted and finished my 4-year degree at Siena College, again, continuing to work. And that was really every step along the way was sort of a stepping stone to the next opportunity. When I graduated from Siena, I then joined a Fortune 100 company. They invested a lot in me over that 12-year period, and I was very grateful for the opportunity there. At that time, I went back nights for 3.5 years to get my MBA. And, my MBA was really designed to help me be more holistic in my leadership view. And it really provided that for me, which was really critical.
One, talking about holistic community is very, very important and near and dear to your heart, as well as the Sunmark organization. Let's talk a little bit about the Epilepsy Foundation and then also WPO.
Okay. So growing up, my parents instilled the importance of giving back. And so it started for me at a very early age. That commitment to philanthropy started with my church and volunteering at rummage sales and partnering with local nonprofits. And so it really started for me at an early age and then continued on. I joined Key Club in high school. And then, throughout my career, I've always been involved in nonprofit organizations. I think they're key to the success of any community. When they thrive, both that for-profit and nonprofit component, when they coexist and thrive together, the community at large wins. And so my parents always said, there's someone less fortunate than you. There's always someone less fortunate than you. So know that and always give back. And so I did that. Then fast forward, I have these two beautiful twin girls, and one of them is diagnosed with epilepsy. And the foundation was really critical for us and our family. At that time, I had never seen a seizure, and they educated us in their school and went to appointments with us and a whole host of different services they provided. And so when my daughter was stable at about 4 years old, it was really time for me to give back. And so I had the opportunity to join their board and progress through their board and became president of their board for a number of years. Actually, the first female board president for the Epilepsy Foundation of Northeastern New
Oh my
York.
goodness, that's incredible.
Yeah. And so I served for that organization for many years and continue to be involved as past president to a certain extent and very supportive of them. And then my daughters have been involved. They received accolades for their community involvement, holding lemonade stands and hosting walks and those
Proud
kinds of
mom.
things. Yeah. So it really does make me very proud. As far as the Women President organization, a dear friend of mine introduced me to that organization, and I have been very blessed to be part of it. I view it as my own private board of directors where conversations are confidential. It's a trustworthy and transparent group of trusted advisors. And that's how I view that organization.
If you could offer advice to any young woman watching this or somebody who's maybe pursuing another career, what advice would you give them on, on just really making the most of an opportunity?
Yeah, I think, well, I've certainly made my fair share of mistakes. So
Well, we all have. We want to be here, right? I think we've earned it.
I have some badges of honor for sure. I would say early in my career, one of the missteps I made was that I didn't delegate enough as an early leader. I didn't trust my people enough. And looking back, I really should have done that because it was detrimental to their professional growth and development. So as I look back, that was one of the missteps I made early on in my career. that I would change. So that's one piece of advice. And then I have many others, you know, small things today that are disregarded make a big difference if they're not dealt with. And, you know, so he'd be a solution provider. Add value, wake up every day to say, how can I make a difference today?
Great, sound advice. One thing that we did touch upon just briefly, and I want to come back to it, is just that the financial services industry is a predominantly male industry. How have you seen that evolved? I mean, we're still quite not there. In fact, I can only think of one female president and CEO, which was Eileen Bagnoli from Pioneer Bank. So, how have you overcome, some of these challenges in an industry that is predominantly male?
Yeah, I've always been results driven and a very thoughtful leader. And so I just leveraged every opportunity I could to learn. And for me, it didn't matter if it was a female or a male. I just took all those opportunities to learn and continue to grow professionally. Just recently, I had a conversation with a retired CEO from a local hospital. We happened to be at an event together, and I asked for his advice. Being a new CEO with a board, I've certainly been on boards and led boards, but this was sort of a different relationship as the CEO working with the board. And so I asked for his advice, and he said, when you're going to make a large strategic change, float the idea first. Let it simmer. Let them think about it, ask questions, and then go back for approval. Don't out of the gate seek approval immediately for large strategic change. And I used his advice and have continued to use his advice, which was solid, sound advice for me, for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about mentorship, because we know how crucial it is for professional growth. Why is it important to you specifically?
For me, I'm in a position now where it's about everyone else. I get to pay it forward. And so knowing that we don't have enough females in leadership in the industry that I'm in, I think it's increasingly more important for me to be a mentor and to help other women.
In your role as president and CEO of Sunmark, what initiatives are you working on in 2025 and beyond?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. There's a lot happening in the industry. There's certainly convergence. I would anticipate that continuing to happen. We need to be in a position of strength. We're a very healthy credit union, and we need to remain that way. We need to stay relevant when it comes to advancing technologies. And so several key things we're working on this year are we've deployed artificial intelligence in our call center environment this year. I'm very excited about that. And we'll continue to watch that evolve and support using AI when and where it makes sense in our organization for the benefit of both our employees and the members. And so that's one piece. Continuing with digitalization and leveraging that. Right now there's a delicate balance in our industry.
Yes.
There are some members who are very interested in in-person transaction, and we need to support those members. But at the same time, my daughters, for example, have never come to a financial center. They've opened their account, done their direct deposit, transferred money, and never stepped foot in a financial center. Just did. My daughter just prepared her tax return through our mobile app.
Can be daunting.
So I think we need to support both of those members. And I would say lastly, we really are focused on operational excellence and making sure we're leveraging automation internally and being as efficient as we can.
I'm still one of those people that likes to go into a branch, and feel the checks and making the deposit. So I don't know if I can ever transition over to the mobile, but my kids are completely different. So, exactly the same thing. We are going into the bank to take the change, and, they get to, guess it tallies up and it just goes right in. It's kind of cool. So we're doing that this week. Final question for you. As you reflect on your career in the financial services industry, what is a piece of advice, a single piece of advice that you can offer a young professional as they just start out?
I would say be inquisitive. Be inquisitive, be humble, take every opportunity as a learning moment, your wins, your failures, all of it. And that will help propel your career in whatever direction your career takes.
Well, this has been an amazing discussion. I appreciate you joining us for Influence Her, Jerilee Beaudoin, the President and CEO of Sunmark Credit Union. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.